Welcome to Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. I'm your host, Dave West, codename Phantom Troublemaker.
And I am your co-host, Noel Wood, codename Crapshoot.
And I'm your Cobra intern who saw Baroness and Zartan sitting in a hiss. K-I-S-S. That's all I can rhyme.
E-S-S?
Yeah. That's why I'm still just an intern. My rap skills are sorely lacking.
Your literary skills, your Shakespearean devices
Yes.
are perhaps not up to snuff. Well, you know what is up to snuff? All of the places where you can listen to Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. Wherever you're listening to this, if you're listening to the audio version, click the follow button and leave us a 5-star review. Send that review to us. We'll read it on the air. The goofier, the better, as long as it's 5 stars. And you are watching on the Needless Things YouTube channel, where we go live pretty much every other Monday. Sometimes we change the days due to scheduling needs. But here on the Needless Things YouTube channel, you can find all kinds of reviews of all kinds of different toys. This week is really eclectic. No G.I. Joe. I don't think there's going to be any G.I. Joe next week either. I think it's going to be a little while before there are any more Joe reviews to be done, possibly end of May. However, if you've got a hankering, if you've got a thirst for G.I. Joe reviews, check out audiblearmy.com. That is where all of the bonus content lives, including exclusive reviews, unboxings, looks at vintage toys. I purchased 4 mint on card G.I. Joe figures, 2 Star Brigade and 2 Battle Corps. I always feel like Battle Corps is not a real thing. It sounds too made up, like Force Brigade, which, by the way, get your Force Brigade figures at Joe Fest. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be opening those up, doing special reviews that you can only find at audiblearmy.com. You also get my show notes before each episode is released, early and ad-free access to all audio episodes, exclusive video access to recordings of audio episodes. So if you don't know, this is a live stream. We're live on YouTube right now, interacting with people in the chat like RecShip85 and Rachel Salinas hanging out with us. You can see what we're doing, lots of visual stuff. But when we record our audio episodes, well, we go ahead and record video of that too, and those have become relatively involved as far as the visual aids go. So if you are not seeing the full experience at audiblearmy.com, I have to say you're missing out. And actually, real quick, I'm going to drop, we've got some new merch here that nobody has seen. Kristian and Noel have not even seen that. Well, I take that back. Our guest, Scott from Grindhouse Toys, has seen this because he got the first sample of it in a little care package that I sent him. We have Audible Interlude dog tags that will be available at Joe Fest in June, and, well, if we still have them, at Dragon Con in September. But
that's awesome. Now when Major Blood kills us, he'll be promoting the podcast.
And he's going to be like, oh, all 3 of these are the same thing. How disappointing. Because that's my Major Blood accent for some reason. I wonder if he's a big Donnie Benet fan, coming from Australia as he does. Or actually, Major Blood's from Tasmania, isn't he?
Yes.
We just did his file card. I should have this phrase in my head. That is a hot dog tag. There's RecShip85. There's hot dog tag, RecShip85. There's going to be a lot of hot dog talk tonight. So buckle up, pal. We got a long way to go on this one. We have hats. Well, actually, I take it back. We don't have hats. We are sold out of the version 2.0 hats. I still have mine right here. But we are currently sold out of the hats. I will hopefully have the next production run available by Joe Fest. So keep that in mind. Hit us up at Joe Fest if you want a 2.0 Audible Interlude hat. We have shirts available on TeePublic. go to Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. Check out the pinned stories for links to the many t-shirts we have available. If we see you wearing a shirt at a live episode recording, we will give you a free itty bitty ditty bag. And yes, that is a real thing. That's not made up like the tactical show.
For now.
Rexship85 says step 1 of Major Blood cosplay, get Audible Interlude dog tag. We'll figure out how to distribute those soon. But it will start at audiblearmy.com. Wotaj says Tasmania is Australia adjacent.
It's a state of Australia.
That's right. Same time toys. How's everybody doing? We're doing fantastic because we're here to talk about G.I. Joe. And despite the fact that this is the most G.I. Joe news-free week we have had since the beginning of the show?
I think so, because it's usually like we'll say, oh, there's no news, and then Monday afternoon Hasbro is like, fooled you.
There'll be something.
But I think,
all's
we
quiet.
just went a little too far. We got a little too pushy with Lenny, and he's like, nope, I'm gonna shut up right now.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. Once he, Emily, and Tony come on the show, they can explain themselves. And this leaving us bereft of news for so long. I already mentioned this is the Needless Things YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about the Needless Things YouTube channel, where we cover not just G.I. Joe, but all kinds of toys, which is something else that's going to come up later in the show. Our next live stream, May the 13th, where Noel is being dispatched on secret maneuvers. So we will have a special guest host sitting in for Noel on May the 13th. Go ahead and put it on your calendar.
I've been invited to the Pentagon for a secret briefing.
And he's going to record the whole thing, and we're going to publish it at audiblearmy.com.
I will be in our nation's capital, but probably not in the Pentagon, unless I do something really wrong.
Ooh.
So we get faux Noel.
And speaking of Joe Fest, we will be hosting the Joe Fest Saturday morning kickoff show live. That is the episode where, as I said, if you wear an Audible Interlude t-shirt, we will give you a free itty bitty ditty bag. Please show up, support the show, support Joe Fest, which, by the way, is going to be bigger, better, and more incredible than it has ever been this year. First, it's the actual kickoff is the Cobra Warlord customization class at 10 a.m. Friday morning, hosted by Grindhouse Toys, with help from Mark II Design. And that is going to be an epic event. Joe Fest, though, I said it a couple of weeks ago, and I meant it, and I still mean it. We are going to look back on Joe Fest 2024 as when things changed and got bigger, and it's never going to be as small again as it is this year. And this year is not going to be small.
It seems like every day their social media is dropping a new announcement, and I'm living for it.
People are going to be speaking of Joe Fest with reverence within a few years. That's how big it is. So do not miss out, and do not miss our panel Saturday morning. You can find out more at joefestusa.com. All right. Let's see here. Guys, there's no news, but we do have a couple of discussion topics here. JJ Shoulder Height is in the chat. Hey, guys, dog tags look cool. They are. They're pretty neat. They're just, it's acrylic. But they're neat little look for freebie giveaway items. They're not too shabby, and those are the best.
They'll be worth every penny that you guys pay for them.
That's exactly right. All right, so not necessarily news, but points of discussion. So you guys have some items that I do not have. Noel, we're going to start with yours because that's the first thing that we talked about. We've had plenty of discussion about this item. I canceled my pre-order not because I think it's overpriced and not because I don't think it's worth it, but because I just made the decision that it just wasn't something I needed for how much it costs. And I'll get the second version because that's the one I'd really rather have anyway. So have you got it?
Sees Noel's version.
Well, right, and that's what I'm dying to see this thing scaled.
I didn't want retro Rakondo either, and then I saw it on the shelf saying, "Buy me."
Well, and that's the thing about this online stuff, though, is you don't have that danger of like, I'm not going to find the H.M.S. sitting in Target and be like, "Ooh, I have to have that."
True.
So, Noel, tell us. Oh, let me size you up here.
Well, I don't have mine in my hand, so I need to go grab it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that would.
Yeah, I had it up on a shelf, but I'll do that.
Okay.
You get to look at my ceiling for a second.
Okay. Noel's not wearing pants is why this camera adjustment just happened.
Wait, are you? I thought that's how. Never mind.
Oh, well. Hot dog tag. We do have. While we've got a few things to discuss, we do have a big theme for the show. Once we get past these opening topics here, we are actually going to be swinging back around to a sound off that we weren't able to get to a couple of weeks ago. We've got some good times planned with that. All right, let's see this thing.
This thing is,
Lord, it's big.
Kind of a beast. Yeah, and
the wheels are huge.
So these are the Vamps wheels, and I compared the original one with the Vamps wheels, and they are much smaller. Now this is obviously scaled up a little bit because the Hiss is scaled up a little bit.
Sure.
Scaled up at a different rate than the Vamp, for instance. But I mean, you can see this is how big these guys are next to each other. It's a good 8 or 9 inches tall, and these rockets,
oh my god,
are 8 inches. So
wow.
when I got the box, showed up on Saturday, and it's hefty. It was it actually weighed a little bit more than I was expecting, and I took it apart, and I was first confused because these weren't in there, but they're in the box with the figures accessories.
Okay.
But it's cool because you can, of course, put these up, put his little wheels up so you can just tow it.
Very nice.
You can, put them back down, and that's the way I have mine displayed, where it's just right now an emplacement.
Right.
And these guys go up. But
how's the action on that hinge there? Is it
ratcheted?
This hinge?
No, the
rockets
are on.
No, it's not ratcheted.
Whatever.
It's not ratcheted. You can.
Okay, but it stays put.
Oh yeah, but it stays in place.
Okay.
Yeah, it stays in place really well. It's got, and this trailer hitch has the 2 levels, so you can put it up like that, or you can do it like that for hauling.
Very clever.
So, yeah. So I overall, I was not sure if $79.99 was worth it on this thing, but I'm happy with it. It looks great next to the Hiss.
How's that little panel look? The control panel.
This control panel right here.
Yeah.
It pops off. And
I'm still disappointed that doesn't just fold down. I don't feel like it's necessary for it to come off completely.
Yeah.
I'd rather there be a hinge there.
It stays in place, which is good. You got some nice taillight action on the back there.
Are those clear
always
plastic?
Good when you're a terrorist. You obey traffic safety.
Yeah, it's just little. They're not clear, but they're just raised and tampoed there. Nice. And of course, you got your little Techno Viper here.
Does he match the? Have you got the fire team?
I don't have the fire team. No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm. If they go up on super discount, I might pick them up at this point in time just to fill out the shelf. But I didn't really need them at the time.
He looks like he matches them. You can't really tell on camera ever. But
he matches. He goes well with the aesthetic of the other Hiss troopers. So
yeah, I wish their reds all matched though, because the ones that came with the Hiss are a much brighter red. The fire team and that guy look like they match the Crimson releases a little bit more than they do the Hiss personnel. Yeah. But still, it looks awesome. It is an impressive shelf piece.
And
yeah.
the holes in the back of the rocket, will they fit like the blast effects from
I bet they will.
scrap
Yeah, I
iron?
haven't tested it, but I bet they will. They might. I don't know. They're pretty large. They
They
might not
look
fit.
big.
There's no
But-
doubt in my mind that those will work with something, because they've been really good about planning that kind of stuff. Well, it looks
Yeah.
great. The tampos on it all look really crisp and solid.
Yep. And I will get the other one when it comes out too.
Yeah,
I'll get the MMS.
I'm tempted, but there's just too much. There's too much, guys.
There's a lot.
There is.
Well, thank you, Noel, for that look at the H.M.S. Kristian, have you got a little something to share?
Well, Will R says it does fit scrap iron's blast effect.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
nice.
Okay, wait. Yeah, let's throw that. I've lost track of the chat. Where did Will R go? There we go. Yes, Will R fits scrap iron's blast effect. I figured they had to. Is that what the heck? Wotaj says, is that a bat clampule on an umbilical? Wotaj, I'll mind you, this is a family show.
It took me a moment, and then I was like, "Oh, the Techno Viper." Because do love a good hose here at Audible Interlude.
It's
We
true.
love
It's
them.
true.
We love them hoes.
Yeah, we do. Much like Outcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, what was it? Our last
Speaking
live?
of Mark II design,
Yes. So on our last live, we had Mark II designed, and when I asked him the question about, missing accessories that we think make a figure perfect, he showed his designs for the Snow Trooper, and I was like, yep.
I know.
So that Monday,
Oh, gosh,
as soon
look
as it
at it.
went up,
right?
I had to get it. And as much as the new snowshoes make sense, wow, there's something about seeing
know.
these, and the quality of his work is so good. He's definitely printing in resin, because there's no lines
Yeah,
or
I know.
anything. And I don't remember this on the original figure. I could be wrong. But I love that the rocket attaches to
Yeah, it
the
did that.
backpack. They
Yeah.
did that before?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, and
Give us a close look at the rocket launcher. I want to see the. Oh yeah, look at that.
yep. So it's what I was telling the guys earlier, because this just showed up today. I had my fingers crossed it would make it on time. Is he 100% goes for the aesthetic of the original figure? Because it's not overdone with paint apps and
Right.
everything else. And once you have everything on, because I've been displaying my Snow Trooper with the wolf head, the cape, like I really liked that look. And then as soon as I got this on him, I was like, man, I'm looking forward to the retro figures now even more,
Yeah.
because I can have 3 distinct looking Snow Troopers on my shelf. And these went up last Monday, like the day after that live stream, and they were sold out within the day.
And he put more up today.
Did he
I
put-
don't
okay.
know if they're still in stock or not, but if you Google Mark II design, he's got vamp cannons. He's got the Snow Serpent loadout. and he put a
Rachel,
couple-
there is.
Oh yeah,
give.
look at that. They're even a little
Mhm.
bendy. Wow. Rachel
So-
Salinas was asking, is there any give in the snowshoes, or are they pretty stiff? And they are bendy, like a nice rigid
Same
PVC.
thing with the gun.
Wow.
Oh, well,
Oh no.
it's okay. That's why I have plastic glue.
Oh.
Ugh.
Live
Live
on the
destruction.
Audible Interlude
But
live stream.
anyway,
Legion
yeah.
Cub got a little cocky.
a little forceful.
We've all been there.
That's why, again, that's why I have plastic glue. But I highly recommend it. If you're looking for your snow trooper to be a little more G1, do it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks that profile on that size figure looks fantastic. Everything looks like it's scaled properly, and it just adds so much. And look, I like the deluxe Snow Serpent that they put out, or I appreciate what they did with it. I'll put it that way. But I want that loadout. I mean, that's just
And it'll look great with the retro figure too.
yes, absolutely.
And I really wanted the rocket. Like I've said that since they showed the Snow Trooper. But even if for the retro they didn't want to sculpt the rocket, this backpack to me makes a huge difference compared to having Bazooka's backpack.
I agree 100%. Having an actual backpack as opposed to the rocket storage.
Yep.
Big difference. Well, awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Kristian. I'm glad you guys have some new acquisitions. All I've got are these new Audible Interlude dog tags. Well, that's not true. I do have something, but I'm saving that for Joe and Tell. Because it's not really new news, it's old news. But since we've got no more news, we are going to do a very special installment of a feature that we have been doing on our audio segments episodes called Let's Freaking Go Ring, where we will talk about different properties that we think deserve O-ring lines of toys. I kicked things off with RoboCop. Kristian, you followed up with
Battle of the Planets.
And Noel has one in his pocket that you guys are just going to have to wait and find out what it is. It's the real barn burner. I'm excited, actually, now that I've had some more time to think about it. I was already pretty excited, but now we had to cut it from the schedule for this past week, so it's going to be next week's audio episode, and it's going to be a hoot and a holler. But this time around, this special installment of Let's Freaking Go Ring comes from a sound off that we were not able to get to. I think it was last live stream. And it comes from our pals Podcast from the Pit. Everybody check out Podcast from the Pit on Instagram, and check them out on your wherever you get your podcasts as well. Let's say you can pick a wave of Super7 O-rings. Give me 5 figures, 2 vehicles, and 1 playset. The weirder, the better. Now, if you know us, you know Podcast from the Pit's asking for trouble when they say the weirder, the better. And we also had to adjust those qualifications just a little bit because we all agreed that a proper wave would probably be 6 figures. So we upped the figure count to 6. And we also decided that the vehicles in the playset could include figures. It was up to each one of us to determine how that would lay out exactly. So what we're going to be looking at is we have each come up with a wave of 6 figures, 2 vehicles, and 1 playset that could potentially be Super 7's initial wave of O-rings. Although now I'm the only one who knows what all of us picked because I had to put the presentation together. And I'll tell you this right now, if this isn't the first 3 waves of product from Super 7, Brian Flynn has lost his mind. Because this is some good stuff. So Noel, you are actually going to be kicking things off. I have I went in order of your list.
Okay.
So
yeah, the pictures for some reason did not post in the right order, so that's fine. I figured you knew who was who.
Yeah, I went by your list unless I completely messed something up. Which, let me say this real quick: this is how much I love this show and how important this show is to me. I, like most of the rest of the world, watched the Fallout series on Amazon. I thought it was fantastic. It really stuck the landing. So I had never played a Fallout game in my entire life. So I bought Fallout 4 on Friday, played it pretty much all day. Saturday, we had a bunch of business, so I didn't get to play it Saturday. And my plan was Sunday to get a couple of things done and to spend all day playing Fallout 4. Guess what Dave spent all day doing? Working on Audible Interlude stuff. I did not play one.
He made a PowerPoint.
And he hates PowerPoints.
I did not play 1 second of Fallout 4 on Sunday. I was just working on stuff for the show. That's how important all of this is to me. So, Noel, without further ado, are you ready for me to pop your first selection up, or do you want to say it and then I'll bring it up and then we can go from there?
You can bring it up.
All right, here we
first.
go. By the way, Noel, Kristian, both of your waves are phenomenal. They got me excited. All right, here we go.
All right. So the first one we're going to call the Cobra Off-Duty Trooper, or the Cobra Rec Trooper, as I like to call him. This is from the episode of the Sunbow cartoon, The Viper, as you remember, as they invade the Cobra base, and all the Cobras are just off-duty, playing some pool.
Aren't there some in a hot tub?
There are some in a hot tub, throwing billiard balls at the Joes. So I've always thought this was fun. This is also something that me and several other finance members have talked about for years, as doing as just a casual group costume at some show.
It wouldn't be that casual, because I think of casual costume as being something that's like a little more off the rack, like comfort, obviously, but a little more off the rack. But these little shorts and tank tops are pretty specific.
This is Sunday night Dragon Con costume.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So excellent pick. I love this. I would buy 5 of them.
Oh yeah, I'd buy an army of these guys.
Okay, ready?
Yep. All right. This is Crimson Guard Cadet Dimming. I tended to go a little bit on the Cobra side for a lot of this stuff. Obviously, from the two-parter, There's No Place Like Springfield, she is tasked with trying to get this important information out of one Mr. Hector Delgado, who is being held captive on this mysterious island by Cobra and a bunch of synthoids. And I've always loved this. I've been surprised they've never done anything really in this look, because she's got kind of the reverse Crimson Guard colors and just a very unique looking figure. And it's funny because they actually sell a costume you can buy off of some Chinese website of this particular Crimson Guard costume.
Really?
Yeah, and I've seen people wear them at shows.
Oh wow!
So yeah,
not casual.
And of course, Crimson Guard Cadet goes a little bit crazy in that episode.
Yeah, well, that's okay. You would too if you were a Crimson Guard cadet. Have you ever seen
Not wearing red?
What's that movie about the military boys' school where they all go nuts? Like somebody tries to take over the school.
Toy Soldiers.
Toy Soldiers. Yes. Yes, I think Crimson Guard Cadet School would be very much like Toy Soldiers. If you've never seen Toy Soldiers, check it out. It holds up. All right.
Moving on. From an episode that we have reviewed on this show, Cobrathon, Mr. C. I mean, what else can you say? This is obviously a parody of one of the biggest pop culture stars of the 1980s, and you can't not have this guy in a O-ring collection.
And this is, this is right up Super 7's alley.
Oh yeah,
this is exactly what they do. There's no doubt in my mind when their O-rings take off and are a massive success, Mr. C will not be too far into the line. Rachel Salinas is jumping in. Let's see what Rachel has to say. Yeah, anybody in the chat, if you want to throw out your ideas, do it. We'll read them out. We want to hear from you guys as well. Rachel Salinas says, Dr. Venom, Hector Ramirez, Admiral Ledger, Evie, Sparks, Cobra, Aspid, Steel Cobra Robot, and Dreadnought Cabin playset. heck of a wave. And
I absolutely want that Admiral Ledger like
yes,
yesterday.
I would buy every single one of those. Chad what is going on? Chad says Taps was the one with Tom Cruise. That's right. I completely forgot about Taps. I haven't watched that in years. I bet that holds up too. Because as much as we might like to think Tom Cruise is a weirdo, for the most part, his movies are really good and he's really good in them.
Mm-hmm.
Wreckship85 says, I think a Rocket's Red Glare set of Rakondo, Roadblock, his aunt and uncle, 2 biker goons, 2 bikes, and a Red Rocket playset would be a fun Super 7 set. Wreckship85, I bet you're not the only one that thinks that. All right, moving along. This is too deep to be a deep cut.
This is one that I'd completely forgotten about from the Deke episode Injustice and the Cobra Way. This is Serpent Man. And he's really Cobra Commander in disguise. That's all you really need to know. But I mean, how cool is that look?
It's toyetic as heck, but I gotta say, yes, I would buy an O-ring of it in a second, but I kind of want an ultimate of it.
When Noel shared this photo, I was actually surprised that this was not like the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive.
Yeah, you're right. So Wreckship85 says, it's not a deep cut, it's a Deke cut.
It's a Deke cut. Yes, it is.
Ouch.
This would this would make an amazing Masters of the Universe figure as well.
I mean, he looks like one of the Snake Men.
Yeah, one of the Snake Men, but
so much so I expect him to come with that stupid staff that every single Snake Man is legally obligated to carry. Whew. Wotej says, Wreckship85, it's a bris. Well, moving on.
Moving on. And I believe that this has been mentioned as well by Rachel Salinas. This is Range Viper Evie from another Deke episode, I Found You, Evie. Of course, she is an old friend of Ambush's who is turned to the dark side. So yeah, an episode that features this random female Range Viper and Ambush. I actually know somebody who did this as a costume as well, and I've always thought this would make a great action figure.
Did they have a moving mask?
They did not have a moving mask.
Her face.
Look, I don't want to get into gender norms, but I will say that the female Range Viper is even creepier than the male Range Viper.
All right. And then finally, I had to do this one from Marvel Comics, of course, crossing over with Transformers a little bit later on in the run. You got the one and only Mrs. Dr. Sydney Biggles-Jones. Special place in my heart because this was one of my wife's first costumes for The Finest. She did this because she put together Lady J. That was how she got accepted in The Finest. But that year for the Dragon Con Parade, they wanted everyone to do a Cobra Trooper of some sort. And this was something that she could put together in a matter of a week or two. And so, yeah, I've always thought this was a very cool looking figure. And they have done this in the 25th line as an exclusive one time. That's the only one official Hasbro figure. Although they did a Mini-Mates, it was a Mini-Mates figure of her at one point.
Well, and since we're on the subject, it's a good time to bring this up. Brian Flynn had said we're not going to do anything in the O-rings that have been done before. And I do not believe he meant we're not going to do like Duke and Flint. And we already know they're doing Cobra Commander. Like he meant we're not going to reproduce those versions again. Right. You're not going to see a toy version of Duke. You're going to see a Sunbow or a Deke or a comic or whatever. Like, so we're still going to get the high profile anchor characters because you have to make those. But you're also going to get things like this, which I'll be honest with you. If I'm at a convention, I'm going to get a lot more excited about seeing something like this than another Cobra Trooper. No disrespect to the Cobra Trooper cosplayers. I'm jealous of you. I wish I had a Cobra uniform to put on. I just don't feel like investing my toy money into something like that. But visually, a singular character like this is much more exciting to me. So
they make this figure she's going with my Transformers Megatron Hiss tank instead of the Baroness. That's
Oh, yeah,
Makes
absolutely.
sense.
Very nice.
because she built that big railgun for him.
All right, so that is that's your 6-figure lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we've talked about it many, many times.
I mean, this was the first thing that came to mind when we talked about doing a vehicle. I've seen customs of it, but come on. I want these. Really, it's because I want these figures so bad that
Yes.
the vehicle is just a vehicle to get them on the pegs with them too. Obviously, this is Satin and Her Dolls tour van from the miniseries, The Pyramid of Darkness, and the prize, of course, is you're getting this whole collection of figures. You're getting Snake Eyes, Shipwreck, Satin, Timber, and Polly, all in their special disguises.
Timber with his bizarre rat tail.
Rat tail.
Which I get, is he... never mind. I'm not even going to speculate. I have no idea what's going on with that.
Like, I get the disguises for the others, but why Timber needs a disguise, that's
right.
That's a whole other thing.
No, here's why Timber needs a disguise, because this is exactly the kind of universe that says, look, it's that wolf that hangs out with G.I. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the public at large knows exactly who Timber is. Wotaj asks, what is that move that Timber is doing? I believe that is actually the Teen Wolf dance as seen in the movie Teen Wolf. Wreckship85 says, I need this set of variants and classified next to my Cold Slither band for Battle of the Band set up on my shelf. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, Cesar PM, knowing Super7, they'll do Satin and Her Dolls and Cold Slither. That is our hope.
Yep.
We have talked about both of those countless times on the show. And I mean, Super7 is the company to make them happen. All right, Noel, your next vehicle.
Yes. So the next one, I kind of went a little out left field there. This is the Cobra hover platform from the Sunbow the Mass device. So because this was an early Joe miniseries, they didn't have a lot of vehicles for Cobra. So they filled in a lot of gaps with some made-up stuff. And I know we've talked about a few of them here, but this is one that is just a little unique, and I thought it would be very cool, and it's cool to pose some troopers on it. So it would come with, I said 2, but I could get greedy. I could throw 4 in, and it could be like the picture on the right of the Sunbow style Cobra troopers. Not just any Cobra troopers,
Right.
but they got to have the Sunbow aesthetic.
Well, and I think this thing could be sized down pretty significantly and still retain its cool factor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it does not have to be as big as it is in this image. I think it could be played with a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, you could bring it down. I mean, I'm looking at like an 8-inch diameter base that you could still fit like maybe 4 figures all the way around.
Yeah.
Right. It would be right. It would be like 4 kind of all the way around next to each other, as opposed to these 4 all on one side.
Yep.
You wouldn't even want something this simple to be that big, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Excellent. I love this. And this would be very easy for them to fit those blast effects on the bottom and a nice, clear, floating display stand.
Yep.
All right. And now it is time for your playset.
And I feel like someone has mentioned this already, although I didn't go quite as big with the figures. Of course, we're getting the Red Rocket Diner from Red Rocket's Glare, the Sunbow episode. And yes, it does have to come with Roadblock and Recondo in their awesome Aloha shirts. I mean, that is absolutely a must-have. You could also throw in, Roadblock's aunt and uncle or some bikers or whatever. But I thought, as kind of a fun action feature for this one, you have an alternate sign. And now that I'm looking at it, you could actually probably repurpose one of these rockets from this.
Yeah, right.
those would probably be about the right size for this playset.
That's exactly right.
But you could replace that rocket with the Eat at Joe's or Joe's Place sign after G.I. Joe celebrates their victory and takes over the Red Rocket Diner.
So in my head, how this playset would work is it would essentially be like a front half. So you could put it up against the wall on your shelf, but when you turn it around, it does have the interior, like it's a playable area. But I don't see any reason for it to go all the way around.
Yeah, dollhouse style.
Yeah.
Or you could do like the Cobra Bunker, where you could have the option of buying two and putting them back to back.
Ooh. Yeah, it is kind of symmetrical like that, isn't it? That could work, although that's a pricey proposition. But hey, Super 7's not going to stop anybody from spending money if they want to.
That's right.
Look at Hasbro's, look at Hasbro's Bestman playset. They did.
Yes,
just a few years ago. You had to buy two.
Dude, I'm so glad I got it, because pictures that I took of it, because right now it's in a tote because I don't have anywhere to put it. It's massive.
Big.
But I bought two because it went on clearance, and pictures that I put up on Instagram popped up in my memories. I think it was yesterday. I'm so glad I've got it because it's gorgeous. It's incredible. It's not out, but someday maybe it will be. I don't know. All right. So I am up next, and I chose
real quick.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Wreckship 85. I wonder if you can do, because it fits with Noel. I wonder if you could do a custom Hawaiian shirt with Kondo with classified chuckles. I think so.
Pretty close, right?
Yeah, it's a little darker, a little deeper blue, but yeah, I mean, you could do it.
Well, I mean, you could, just for the purposes of, hey, let me put this up on Instagram, I might give that a try later. Although you'll notice Ricondo's shirt is untucked, as any Hawaiian shirt should be. If you're tucking in your Hawaiian shirt, you better either be Magnum PI or in some sort of situation where a shirt tail is going to get you killed.
Well, I wear my Hawaiian shirts to work almost every Wednesday, so I got to tuck them into my
my
khaki
and
pants.
That's a whole other scenario, though. That's not a casual visit to the aunt and uncle. All right, so I am up next, and I chose a theme for my releases. I went back in time, and we are going to be revisiting one of Audible Interlude's favorite episodes, Bazooka Saw a Sea Serpent. Because I wanted my wave to tie together and to have a theme. And while I like, Noel, what you did of kind of pulling from various sources, I wanted everything to feel like, oh, well, I have to buy all of this. So we're starting off with, of course, Bazooka and Alpine, who I am constantly trying to get into any toy line that we discuss ever. So Sunbow versions of Bazooka and Alpine, who are two of the, in my mind, two of the big stars of Sunbow. Their relationship is tremendous. They are the best pairing in G.I. Joe, as far as I'm concerned, entertainment value-wise. So I'm kicking things off with those two. Next up, not Duke, because Duke actually doesn't play a very large role in this episode. No, Quick Kick and Lady J are next, because we have never had a Lady J that really looked like the animation in an O-ring line.
Yeah, we got her in the 25th.
Right, but not as an O-ring. And what I want from this is very much what was done with the Filmation Masters Universe Origins figures. Like, this is what I wish these had been. So Super 7's O-rings, in a lot of cases for me, I'm hoping to get, this is what, and look, I love those original Joes, but you can't help but notice they don't quite look like the cartoons all the time. And I want those cartoon versions. So Quick Kick and Lady J are up next because they have a huge part in the story of this episode. Next up are Tomax and Zaymot, and I only selected this image because it is the worst image of Tomax and Zaymot I have ever seen in my entire life.
It's like the kid from Mask has a twin and he's cosplaying the Crimson Twin.
He looks like Wolverine, the one on the right.
They're just nightmarish here, so I had to continue.
Pass the squint test?
I mean,
the
you
costumes.
you have to
Yeah.
squint really hard to look past their alien faces.
Yeah, everything
Yeah,
above the neck though is.
Chip 85 says we have Tomax and Zaymod at home. So I found a little better picture, a little more standard Sunbow look, and they're on the ocean, which goes along with the content of the episode. But then I progressed further, and I realized, why just have Sunbow, Tomax, and Zaymod when you could have Sunbow, Tomax, and Zaymod on water skis? So my releases would include water skis rather than their zip line, so they could do all of their water activities. My vehicle would be the Trouble Bubble with the Cobra Trooper, and this is the best image we got of it in the whole episode.
Well, it appeared that they were doing a Trouble Bubble of some sort.
Yes,
at one point.
I'm
so
pretty sure that's happening. But I had to choose this because it goes along with the next vehicle, which is the titular Sea Serpent. Now, obviously, Super 7 is not releasing a 20-foot long Sea Serpent that can actually
chomp
swallow
a Sky Striker.
Right. But I think a Sea Serpent of reasonable size with a hinged jaw is very, very doable. Or it could be done, and I meant to grab, I don't know where it is. Oh, it's packed up. Wouldn't help. It could be done glove puppet style. I have got two different excellent quality Doctor Who monsters that were released alongside the 5-inch toy line, but that are glove puppets. I think that would be very possible with this, but chances are just a big plastic with a hinged jaw. Maybe something along the lines of the old Tiamat from Dungeons and Dragons. Like
I was
that style.
thinking the oh gosh, what was its American name? Actually Serpentor, right? From the Power Rangers.
Oh, I don't
line.
know.
Because it's when it stands up on its hind, it's a Chinese dragon.
Okay.
But when it stands up on its hind legs, it's a good, probably almost 2 feet tall. But when you bend the head down, then it shrinks it up. But yeah.
And then finally, my play set, because I'm being a little loose with my terminology of play set. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. This is the figure that would come with the Sea Serpent, because rather than including I think it's Dr. Braxton is the guy who created the Sea Serpent. Look, as much as Super 7 likes to go deep and as much as we appreciate it, I don't need a figure of that guy. But a figure of a parachuting eel, let's go. I'm in. So this is what would be included with the Sea Serpent. And then finally, my play set would be the Killer Whale, which, again, I am going to try and work into any toy line that we talk about. But it would include, of course, Destro eating a banana. I think I might have misplaced a slide. Hang on.
That was so
perfect. You know what? Forget it. Nobody wants Cutter. Everybody wants Destro eating a banana. No, I had a picture of Cutter that I got crazy mixed up on. So, so yes, the Killer Whale would include Cutter, and would be a Sunbow accurate whale, which wouldn't be that different from a regular whale, but it would be sturdier plastic, it'd be more durable, and it would be, I mean, look,
more brightly colored.
Yeah, more brightly colored, and the whale is reasonably a play set. There's so much to interact with. There's so much space for figures, so much room for activities that I do think it could qualify as a play set. And it wouldn't be necessary, in my opinion. How do you guys feel? I wouldn't feel it would be necessary to put wheels on it.
I mean,
Not from Super 7, because they know they're catering to a more adult-aged consumer.
and I think you could possibly do it with a soft, like, plastic skirt instead of just hard
like
plastic.
tires.
Yeah.
Like, that would be really, I hadn't even thought of that. That would be really cool. Oh, good call. All right, so that is my bazooka. Saw a sea serpent wave of G.I. Joe O-rings from Super 7.
Very nice.
Kristian, are you ready?
I am. All right. So, like Phantom, I had a theme with mine. It does kind of involve bananas as well. But mine is not pulled from a specific Joe episode. Also, I was thinking along the lines of Brian saying we're not making what's been done before, so we need to come up with a little bit of a new mythos for G.I. Joe. So mine is a little mix of new with how can I fit in some of those things I just love about old Joe. So let's go.
All right, here we go. Oh, wait, first we must address
The spam bot?
The spam comment here. How do I get rid of this? Can I? Oh, there's no way to delete this from Born. First of all, Born Squatters. Oh, it's because I forgot to mention we're also broadcasting on Twitch tonight. I totally forgot because it's we Needless Things used to do stuff on Twitch and I just haven't, and it comes up as an option on StreamYard to simulcast to Twitch. And I thought, why not do it? Nobody's going to watch, but why not? But apparently Born Squatters is watching on Twitch and wants to make us an amazing offer about promoting our channel. So I'll have to look into that later.
Well, I do not, Born Squatters, I do not accept your apology for bothering me.
Yeah, you're definitely bothering us.
I was...
Yeah, because I was
ready to deliver a very epic monologue.
I was like, wait, that's not showing up on the YouTube comments.
Oh, is that where you're from? Oh, right. Well, wait.
I glanced over. I see it.
Okay.
No, I see it in
over the StreamYard.
Yeah, StreamYard, but it's not showing up on YouTube.
So everybody on our YouTube right now is guys, lay off the booze.
If anybody well, you guys don't even know how to get to Twitch. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out next time. But thank you, Born Squatters, for completely derailing the entire episode. Now, Kristian, take it away.
All right. So I figured if we're starting a somewhat new kind of story for Joe and a new toy line, we do need a familiar face in there. And I love what Skybound has done with rock and roll, but I really like his Deke look. So he is going to be our familiar face to get people to buy the new line.
Oh, good call. And people do love this sort of version 2 look of rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
All right, ready?
Yep. So next up, and I apologize because let me tell you, I spent over an hour and a half going through the entire Devil's Due comic line to find a good shot. Like, for as much as they use Mr. Billy Kessler, they like to not draw all of him.
Well, it's all close-ups. All of it. Because you sent this cover, and I remembered because I was there for these years. And I remember how close up, not just him, but so many of the panels are. Mini Pete is here in the chat and says, let's be honest, this episode has been off the rails before that comment. Mini Pete, we've never had an episode on the rails. We are not, we're not even one of those little push cart deals that go
Right.
on train tracks, let alone a train. All right,
But
Billy Kessler.
I thought, who better to also now connect us to the older version of Joe than Cobra Commander's son?
Hot dog tag.
It's
Oh my God. It's a catchphrase at this point.
That's going to be the
Um,
next shirt. Follow Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram and get your hot dog tag shirt.
but yeah, so Cobra Commander's son, alive and kicking. I like this look for him the best rather than Ninja or Kid version. So yeah.
Well, here's the problem with trying to do a Marvel Comics Billy is over the course of about a year of comic book time, Billy ages from 8 to 18 and then back to 8. It's you can't. What do you even do with that? Whereas this, like,
But
I mean,
see, and if we get the cartoon or the comic, so Billy, all, for the most part, looking normal. He's got his eye patch. He's a cool spy pirate. We know he has a prosthetic leg. So in my story, eventually he is involved in another accident.
oh my
He's
gosh.
going to lose his arm. So he will have a bionic arm, a bionic leg, and that's how I get my nuclear guy into G.I.
Oh,
Joe.
okay.
So last up,
Wotaz says Storm Shadow is about to be full of shame and regret, so he'll fit right in with the rest of us.
yes.
And All Music Fan 88 says, "Hey Joe fans, what is up, All
Hey,
Music
Joe.
Fan?"
All right.
all right.
So my last member of the Joe team, I figured we got to have somebody with an animal, and he fits in with my playset. So I have Spearhead and Max, the Bobcat, from
Oh, I
G.I.
thought
Joe's.
that was Church from Pet Cemetery.
Well, the artwork in this issue very much so makes it look more like he's a slightly large tabby cat, but he is supposed to be a bobcat. So, and I've always liked Spearhead, so he fits the bill.
Well, he's got a good toyetic design. Like that's the thing about the post, like really post 87. Like they got pretty colorful before my time ended, but 88 to, well, really 88 to the end of the line, but really 88 to 90, there were some great designs that had a lot of color but didn't delve into the like neons and stuff, which I love
Right.
now. But
Back
even
then,
back
not
then,
so
like Spearhead's a great design.
So for my villains, who's G.I. Joe gonna fight? Because again, we're creating a whole new story-ish. So I actually didn't want Cobra to be in this line at all. So starting up,
Oh baby.
we are going to have Iron Claw. So not only is he the leader of Scar, but after he was beat by the G.I. Joe Extreme team, he took over the country of Miklavia, and he now rules it as very much kind of like a Dr. Doomish character.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of diplomatic immunity whenever Joe has to fight him. You got to be a little more devious. Also, after he took over Miklavia, he wiped out the G.I. Joe Extreme team. Gory.
They probably deserved it.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, they definitely deserved it.
100%. And Sky Patrol. But he is enough of a major threat that Cobra has gone into hiding.
Ooh, I like it.
So every good crazy dictator needs a Mars, but Destro isn't around. So I picked the Weaponsmith.
Yes.
from G.I. Joe European Missions number 9. I'm a sucker for a trench coat, except for Gambit. Soft goods, it's got to be to keep with that 1980s kind of aesthetic. But he is our weapons master, vehicle builder for this new version of Scar. And if you all are not familiar with G.I. Joe Special European Missions number 9, his whole shtick is he can make weapons out of diamonds, and CoverGirl just happens to be modeling diamonds. But he's smarter than that.
So we got to check in with the chat real quick. First of all, Travis Furborn asks a question on the subscription. Could you make it a one-time payment for a full year as well as $99 per month? $1.99 per month may hit when funds are low and an overdraft may happen. Just asking for a friend. If I can do that, I will. And now that you say that, I know I think that might be a Patreon option. I'll look into it. We'll see if we can make that happen. And by the way, that does bring up the point. $1.99 per month gets you all of the bonuses available at audiblearmy.com. Mini Pete says, sounds like Billy is going to be the Joe version of the $6 Million Man.
Close enough.
Double Pale Ale says, hello, love the podcast. Keep the dream alive. That's all we are here is dreamers. Wotaj says, he's a bobcat, but the links were broken. Oh, All Music Fan 88 says, I wonder if we'll get Spearhead and Max in Classified.
We better.
I think if Classified goes on long enough, we're going to see everything. I really believe that. Travis is back again. Nice Iron Claw. He also looks a little like the Techno Viper. He does have kind of that vibe going on in the face, doesn't he?
And just wait.
Rachel Salinas, I hope Super 7 branches out beyond Sunbow and Deke. I'd like to see Renegade Scrap Iron and Brian Bender. Yeah, I agree with that. And I think we all agree that like any corner of G.I. Joe that Super 7 can dip into, we're there for it, up to and including an Invader.
I want that.
Wotesh says, fool! Iron Claw toots when he pleases, which is a Dr. Doom reference if you don't know. Rich Murphy is in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guest Rich Murphy. Go check out Rich Murphy on Instagram. Check out Rich Murphy on YouTube. If you need some jams to make your booty move, Rich Murphy will provide them. Check out the incredible music of Rich Murphy right now. Travis says, cool on the subscription. And Road Pig John is in the house. Yo, Joe, guys, what is up, Road Pig John? Always happy to see you here. Share your thoughts with us, my brother. All right. Moving along. Kristian,
so
you have had the most interrupted segment in the history of Audible Interlude.
That's okay. It gives people time to digest.
That's true.
So my final pick, because I do need an army builder, is the Bat Soldier, specifically from G.I. Joe, the Marvel Series 153. I specifically picked this one because the head design looks like Iron Claw.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Yep. So
I love it.
This will give you a chance to fill out your enemy ranks. Also, in that issue, this bat is nigh indestructible. It's almost like what just happened in the last Skybound issue, where they're doing massive damage and it just keeps going. So kind of Terminator-esque as well.
And so, for those who may not know, we did a full review of the entire Duke series as separate episodes, but we just last week posted our review of Duke number 5, the blistering finale. Oh, so, and you know what? You mentioned the bat's head looks like Iron Claw. You know what doesn't look like something? That's Scarlet that Ninja Force Scarlet in the top left doesn't look anything like the Ninja Force Scarlet figure.
No.
All right, moving along.
Oh, right. So now we got to get to my vehicles.
Oh, baby.
So this is where, okay. So G.I. Joe, we know over in the UK was Action Force. So I am using that as my get out of jail free card to include the Shadow Tracker or Shadow Track, sorry, as my enemy vehicle. I don't know what it is about this. The moment I discovered that these things existed when I saw one online, I just love that it's very 70s, early 80s kind of design. Also, I should preface, neither of my vehicles come with drivers because all the money is going into the playset. So with that being said, it also, this vehicle lends itself, when you look at it, to go, I see that obviously moving on land, but I can also see that being able to float on water.
Well, I mean, it looks like a boat with wheels, but
Right.
it also looks like something that would have been in like Adventure Team.
Yeah.
Yes. And I also looked at it as this is a transport vehicle because it's got the guns, but
Oh, and real quick for everybody watching on YouTube, which by the way, the replay of this will be available forever and ever. We're talking about the red vehicle
sorry.
in this image, not the
not the vamp looking. We are talking about the vehicle in that top panel. So I figured you could throw a bunch of bats on the back of it, and this is how the enemy can get to and from the playset.
This is fantastic. I love it. I love this vehicle design, and it's perfectly Super 7. Road Pig John says, we need Dr. Mindbender Lab with the creation of Serpentor. Also include the monster that was screwed up by Cobra Commander and that Arise Serpentor Arise scene. I would love that. It 100% makes sense. And it would be great from Super 7 or as something from Classified, because they made such a big deal about the Serpentor Mindbender connection that I wouldn't mind seeing it in either format. But I guess if I had to choose one, all right, between the three of us, if you had to choose, would you rather have that playset in Classified or an O-ring?
O-ring.
O-ring.
I'm going to go with O-ring as well. In general, I'm going to choose O-ring over Classified, which is going to present me some problems later this year, I guarantee. All right.
So now for my hero vehicle, I need everybody to use their imagination a little bit.
Kristian is going to paint a picture with his words.
Yes. Sergeant Slaughter is not included. So this is the Tiger Tail Tank, also known as the Tiger Force Triple T. I figured since Super 7 already did some Joe figures that did not exist in Tiger Force colors, we can have a Tiger Force Triple T. Also, I was looking for, again, I tried to go a little more smaller on the vehicles because all the money's going into the playset.
Right.
But you do want some sort of vehicle that you can use to attack the shadow track. Otherwise, your Joes are just getting ran over. So
now, I don't know the legalities of using Sergeant Slaughter with Super 7 because he's a real person and he's got to deal with Hasbro. But how could you not throw in a Tiger Force Sergeant Slaughter with this? I know.
Because of everybody on this, ignore my feelings about Sergeant Slaughter. Everybody on this podcast, I am always the first one to say if it can lower the price point by not including a figure so that it can be more affordable to people, that's what I would do. So since this is my wave, I'm going, I can take, especially in today's prices, I can make that a $25 vehicle.
You are delusional, and I demand you not appear on this show when you are under the influence
Nope,
of foreign substances, sir.
easily. All right. So that's it for the vehicles.
All right. So
So
the image you sent me, the first image you sent me for the playset didn't come through, but I did get the title of what you were going for. So I did some Googling and I was able to find the appropriate title card. I do think it's interesting, though, that you're theming it around a Bubble Guppies episode.
that should surprise you. How?
I'm not surprised at all. Not surprised in the least. No, this cracked me up because it had the title of the image came through. And when I wasn't sure, like, what the turnaround was going to be, I was like, well, let me just Google and see if I can find something. And there is a Bubble Guppies episode called Escape from Volcano Island. But that is not the Volcano Island of which
a
Kristian
story
speaks.
for another day.
That's right. Because
All
this...
right. This is my playset. Now, this is where I am taking my love for Adventure Team G.I. Joe and mixing it with some Sunbow episodes. So we are combining Victory at Volcania and Stuck on You to create Escape from Volcano Island. Now, this is going to be a mixture of plastic playset, little cardboard. I want you to think Kenner Star Wars style playsets.
See, I was picturing like Fireball Island style.
And a little bit of that, yes, because, well, let's just get into it. So, can G.I. Joe find the treasure before the volcano erupts and wipes everything out with its lava? So first up, as your Joes are going through the jungle, can they dodge the crushing grip of the gigantic gorilla? So this is one of the figures that'll come with the playset. And it will have crushing arm grip. Or if you've seen the episode of Stuck on You and you do feel like using your Cobras for this episode, it can display its love for Cobra Commander and hold him oh so tightly.
I'm picturing this guy being about the size of like a Bio Viper. Like a big chunky boy.
Yes. And kind of looking like the monkeys from Congo.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. All right. So now, and unfortunately, I couldn't find a great picture for this one, but collapsing trees block your path. So if you remember a while back, we went on one of our famous tangents about the Gilligan's Island bath time toy.
Yes.
And how it had that hollow tree to hide in. So we are going to have some plastic trees that just oh so gently rest, and you can push on the rocks, and they're like with the old Star Wars playsets, there'll be a little lever that can knock the trees over to block you from getting any further into the jungle. But you do manage to make it hold up, because these are the next couple I wasn't able to find pictures for at all. Not even anything similar to what I'm imagining. So you make it past the trees, and now you have to cross the collapsing rock bridge. So right in front of the volcano is going to be, if you remember the old Imperial Hoth playset from Kenner, where it had the ice arch that your figures could stand on and then it would collapse. That's what this is, except it's brown to look like rocks. So you have successfully made it to the other side. It's collapsed. You can't go back that way. On the side of the volcano is a little cave. And inside that cave is the treasure chest. And what MacGuffin could possibly be in that treasure chest that G.I. Joe has to get before Cobra? Well, as your figure starts to move inside the cave, you hit that battle action and plastic spears cross from right to left, and you either dodge them or Lady J gets speared in that way she doesn't like to. So you manage to get the treasure. You have your MacGuffin, but you have upset the volcano gods. So now you can use the lever on the back of the volcano and start lifting it up as a red plastic ball of lava. Uh-oh, here it comes. So Joe has to get back to the beach. And unlike our favorite 1988 movie featuring Annette Funicello and Frankie Avalon, this beach is covered with mines.
As opposed to being covered with a ska band.
Yes, and Pee Wee Herman.
Dun, 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 dun,
So
Jamaica
now
ska.
the deadly mines catapult your figure into the ocean depths. That should be the next
gosh.
photo.
Oh.
Nope. That's
Whoop.
that's there you go. Boom. So again, taking a note from Kenner, you'll have these little spots that you can put the figures on, and when you hit the rock, it
Flying.
activates a little panel and tosses your Joe off the island and blows up your vehicles into teeny tiny little pieces, while the lava is probably stuck by the collapsing bridge, because it's not like I engineered this toy very well, but it's very freaking playable. And I do love me action features
Yeah.
on playsets versus figures. So that's it. It will come with the attack gorilla. It'll come with a slug type figure of a lion. The lion doesn't need to be posable. It's just got to be there for jungle danger. We're going to get a couple of plastic snakes. And then it will have a small escape raft as well to safely take your Joes wherever the wind takes them. And that's my playset.
Road Pig John says that reminds me of the Ace Ventura gorilla scene in the bushes. Oh, Road Pig John. Ritz Murphy says, will this playset work with stompers? 100% it would work with stompers. And let me just tell you, stompers are very expensive on eBay. I would love to have some, but they're a little pricey for what they are.
I was always a Rough Riders guy myself.
Wotaj says, hey, that's Marissa Fairborn's mom. Rexship85 says, I am so stressed out right now from this description.
I'm exhausted.
Caught up in the story. Road Pig John wants some quicksand on that playset. I think it would be easy enough.
I thought about that.
Right?
I thought about that initially,
Overkill?
but the Dagobah, we would have to figure out another way to engineer it, because that foam
deteriorates. Modern materials, you could.
True.
Are you guys as disappointed as I am that quicksand was not a much bigger problem in the world than we figured it would be when we were kids?
Definitely thought I was gonna. Matter of fact, I watched Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome the other day, and there's quicksand in that, and I had that exact same thought. Like seeing that in the movie theaters with my mom when I was 9? When did that come out? 85. So I was like 9 years old.
87. Yeah.
I don't think it was that late.
Was it?
I hate it when we have to look stuff up. But we have to know. We have to present nothing but facts here.
We don't need another hero, Dave.
85. 85.
85. Wow.
So 9 years old in the movie theater with my mom, thinking quicksand was going to be a big problem in my future. I love this because when you brought up that Hoth playset, that's exactly what I was thinking of. And we were down at Atlanta Vintage Toys, down in the Peachtree Peddlers Market last weekend, or a couple weekends ago, and they had the Hoth playset, not the Rebel one, the Imperial one that you were talking about with the bridge.
Yep.
Pure white, $85. I should have bought it. Complete.
I will when we're done with the podcast, for all our listeners, if you're not familiar with it, I'll repost my photo of it onto my Instagram. It's one of the greatest playsets ever made.
But the Rebel one isn't as good, but when you have both of them,
yeah,
they're incredible.
So thank you, everyone, for enjoying story time.
That was amazing. Like I said, I think we've got the first 3 waves set, and then between the suggestions from the chat, we've got at least 2 more waves after that. Brian Flynn, I'm just going to say this. I think a little payday's in order. Let's make it happen. And that brings us to one of our favorite segments on the show, the one that we cannot do without you, the listeners, the Audible Army, and that is Sound Off. Every single time we're doing a live stream, early in the day, I will put up a post at Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram that says Sound Off, and we want you to sound off with your suggestions for the show. We want to know what you want to talk about. And we also do a special post at audiblearmy.com, and those questions or suggestions get priority. So we are going to kick things off with a sound off from audiblearmy.com. Wreckship85, who has been omnipresent on the show tonight. There have been a couple of Dreadnought-themed vehicles over the years of Joe history. What is the next vehicle, or maybe even a trooper variant, that should get the honor of being Dreadnought? This is a great question, and it ended up being a little more difficult to determine than I thought it was going to be. Noel, did you have a quick answer for this one, or did it require a little bit of thought?
So mine is actually kind of cheating, because it does kind of get used by the Dreadnoughts a lot, but I do want to see it in Dreadnought colors. I want to see the water moccasin done up in Dreadnought colors.
Okay.
Because it's a swamp boat.
I like it. Well, so mine, I from your description, I was 100% sure you picked what I picked. Because it's kind of cheating, because the Dreadnoughts use it a lot, but I really want to see it done up in Dreadnought colors, and I want to see a Dreadnought ferret.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of an obvious choice, but I think you could put a different if they're going to do it in classified, you put a different cannon on it. You maybe put some different missiles on it, and then in those Dreadnought colors of the ground assault, and is it air assault or sky assault? It's air assault, right?
Air assault and ground assault, yeah.
Yeah, air assault. Do it in those distinctive colors. I'd love to see it. Rachel Salinas says we need Winter Gear Joe's Scarlet and Duke with frozen coffee. Oh, I like the frozen coffee idea. Road Pig John says, why don't you guys try to invite Brian Flynn to your show? I think you guys nothing to lose if he just says no. I've seen him on so many other Small Toys podcasts. Road Pig John, if I could get him to say no, I would be delighted. I can't get a response at all from Super7. So, hey, listeners, everybody in the chat, send Brian Flynn a message. Tell him to come on Audible Interlude. Rich Murphy says, Noel, great choice. All right.
All right.
Kristian.
So my choice, I went with the Mobat because I wanted the Destros to have something huge. Also,
Destros.
It comes in Dreadnought colors, but I wanted to have, like, I was thinking if we were to do this in the newer O-ring line, so the Dreadnoks would obviously like wrap the gun turret in barbed wire. It would have spikes on it. It would be a little more Mad Maxy of a looking Mobat.
It'd have some missing armor plates with maybe like chicken wire on top of them or something. I like this. I like this a lot. Yeah, Ritz Murphy, Brian, we're going to see Brian at Joe Fest. We are, and there's going to be a reckoning.
We're not going to kidnap him. Don't worry.
No, the reckoning is going to be, well, I reckon I'm going to go talk to him.
I'll chain myself to the table and just keep screaming, Attica, Attica.
All right. No, I'm going to bring him a stack of rare 7-inch punk rock vinyls. We'll see what he does. All right, now moving on to our Audible Interlude podcast submissions. Silent Interlude says, is this month off for the main comic run just a timing thing? I sent an inquiry to Skybound. I have not heard back yet, but I think the answer is probably just yes. I don't have anything better than that for you. When will we see the Super 7 O-rings? Well, as Road Pig John just pointed out, Brian Flynn is going to be at Joe Fest. Or actually, I'm sorry, Ritz Murphy pointed it out. Brian Flynn's going to be at Joe Fest, and he has said that they are debuting or revealing the O-ring line at Joe Fest, which is huge and is part of the reason why I keep saying this year at Joe Fest is going to be unbelievable. And yes, they were pretty good about keeping reactions under wraps. It was crazy.
Yeah. We'd see them in the stores before we knew that they existed.
Almost unprecedented in modern toy production how well Super 7 is able to keep secrets.
Rachel has a pick.
Oh, Rachel Salinas says, I'd love to see a Dreadnought battle wagon. It almost should have been a Dreadnought vehicle. Mm-hmm. I love that. That's great. All right, moving on. Sergeant Action says, it's poker night. There's a spot open at your table. Who do you ask, and what food, beverage should they bring for the group? Kristian.
All right. So you could have picked my answer without the help of a psychic. I'm picking Shipwreck for a very specific reason, because he and I are going to talk beforehand, because we know he has a good poker face. We know he's going to get everybody drunk and take their money. So we're going in 60-40. I'll invite all the other Joes like Duke and those guys that are, born losers, and let Shipwreck wipe them clean.
And he's bringing rum.
Yeah, and whiskey and hooch.
Hooch. I brought a bottle of hooch. All right, Noel. Poker night.
I'm inviting Cobra Commander over with his brilliant turkey dinner. If you've ever seen the almost 20-year-old Dr. Spoo video.
Sure, yes.
But the main reason, and perhaps you've seen it in a meme, Cobra Commander's going to lose every hand. He has to come in his battle mask, though, not in his hood.
Oh, that's great. I love it. Oh, that's a good thought. I love that. So we recently discussed Ace's file card, and it was mentioned that Ace is an excellent poker player. I don't play poker, and I don't imagine I would be very good at it. So I'm inviting Ace because if he's that good at poker, well, then he'll dominate everyone, and I won't have to feel bad about how horribly I play and how badly I get beaten. And Ace, being from Rhode Island, is going to bring hot wieners because, as everybody knows, hot wieners are a Rhode Island delicacy. That's right. world famous Rhode Island hot wieners are going to be what Ace brings to the party.
Will he be wearing his hot dog tags?
Yes, he's going to be wearing his hot dog tags.
While Destro sits in the corner crying, slowly eating his banana.
Very upset because in this version of Destro's mouth doesn't move with his mask, so he's trying to figure out how to put that thing in there.
He's just mashing it in. Rexship85 says, dog tags. But everybody feel free to check that out. That is a fact that I looked up earlier today. A Rhode Island delicacy, hot wieners. Don't just Google hot wieners, though. You have to Google Rhode Island hot wieners.
If you're going to do hot wieners, do it in incognito mode. 2
new shirts for tonight, hot dog tags and hot wieners. Rhode Island hot wieners. Moving along. Sneezy the Squid, our pal Gary says, so we know Destro and Scarlet are the next 2 miniseries. Assuming that when they're done that they don't launch the G.I. Joe book, what would you want the next pair to be? I say Zartan and the Arashikage clan. Good picks. I dig that. I'd be into both of those. Noel.
So, because we've already seen him in the Duke comic, I want a Scrap Iron story, kind of a prequel, a precursor, see exactly what happened to him. And obviously, because I do love me some Scrap Iron. And for a Joe counterpart, I'd like to see a Lady J book.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, and you'll eventually roll her into the rest of the team. But I think that I was very excited about the potential of a Lady J television series that they sort of hinted at 3 or 4 years ago, and we can just roll that into a comic book instead.
I would like to see the origin story of Extensive Enterprises, how Tomax and Zaymot build, how they come to be in charge of this industry. I'm picturing something very much like Succession in a lot of ways, but I'd be very interested in that.
Do they fight over who's the eldest boy?
They definitely fight over who's the eldest boy. It'd be like the Usos, where everybody knows Zaymot is like 4 minutes older, so he's always talking about how he's the eldest boy. And then my Joe side of things would be a little lower key. I would love to see a series focusing on Mainframe, who is a retired enlisted or formerly enlisted man, but he, along the way in his career, just picked up computer skills just as part of wanting to better himself and be the best he could possibly be. And now he's kind of tinkering around, messing around, and he comes across the whole Energon Cybertron connection thing on his own, and it becomes a kind of 90s thriller. Like, remember all the like Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves, not Speed, but like all the
like Pelican Brief.
Yeah, all the like tech thrillers from the 90s. Yes, The Net. And it kind of turns into that. But it's all about Mainframe. Yes, well, I don't know about Virtuosity. Wasn't that the one where Russell Crowe was like a living computer program or something?
No, I thought that
was the one with
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yes,
and
No, it was Russell Crowe and Denzel Washington.
Oh, what's the one I'm thinking?
Yeah, wasn't Russell Crowe like a computer program?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Catherine Zeta-Jones was, I can't remember what it was called, but that's but the point is, all those 90s, like the threat of the internet, basically thrillers, and that's
Johnny
what this
Mnemonic.
Would be. Yes, yeah, all of that kind of stuff. But it would be Mainframe.
So, I like what Skybound has done with the side characters in, like, Duke and Cobra Commander. So I was thinking I don't necessarily want any of the major players. For Joe, I want an Ace miniseries.
Hot waiters.
Well, my rationale was, we have Duke's whole take on the Starscream thing, but what about someone like Ace who continues to be a pilot and hasn't seen the whole Starscream thing yet? Like, that's how I want the miniseries to end, is him discovering that the Transformers are real. But
ooh, almost like a UFO kind of thing.
Right, like he's hearing all these stories.
Right.
Stuff is happening that's weird. The Seekers can absolutely make appearances, but they're never in their robot form.
Yeah.
So
we as the reader see these familiar jets, and we know what's going down, and poor Ace the whole time is just clueless.
Right,
or not clueless, but doesn't know.
He doesn't understand why someone like Duke is going so nuts. Like, it's all to him, it's all a big fake conspiracy theory, and he's still just doing what he's told,
As much as I hate to recycle concepts too much, I think this would make an incredible one-shot similar to the Ace Wild Weasel issue of the old comic, only it's Ace and the Seekers.
That sounds like a good name for a band.
It does, actually. It's Ace Frehley and the members of Mainskin.
And for my Cobra comic, I love the horror direction that we weren't really expecting for Cobra Commander. So I don't know if I would call it an origin story. I want a Dr. Mindbender miniseries that shows you how he ends up with Cobra, where he is, to everyone in the neighborhood, he's this mild-mannered dentist, but he's whatever has happened that causes him, his wrong laughing gas that he took or whatever that causes him to become sadistic, so that you have these issues just slowly building up of this serial killer-esque mentality of him doing all these horrible things and no one suspecting, to where at the end he can no longer hide. Like, so how does he get to Cobra, where now they're going to take advantage of his satanic mechanic ways?
Well, you and Rachel Salinas are on the same page, because she just said, I want to see Dr. Mindbender's transition from dentist to mad scientist and a Chuckles story. Before we address the second part of that, I want to say this. I realize this is a comic book and not a movie, but Kristian, I do have one request for your Dr. Mindbender tale, that Bill Murray be one of his patients.
Because Dr. Mindbender would get to kill him, I would be all for it.
And then as far as the Chuckles story, like, yes, I'm all for it, but at the same time, my gosh, could you ever outdo? Because, I mean, when anybody talks about IDW's comics, that's the one they talk about.
I mean, that turned that character into something, like, to one of the favorite G.I. Joe characters for a lot of people. Yeah. Because really, who cared about Chuckles before that book came out?
His mom.
Whoa, hold on, buddy. He had a shoulder holster. Wreckship85 wants to see Big Lob and Big Boa. Road Pig John says, we need you guys with cameras ready to interview Brian Flynn at Joe Fest. We will absolutely be ready. Ew, Wotaj says, trying to build synthoids from patients' old teeth. You know what? Actually, that's a brilliant idea. Like, that's
no, it is
ingenious.
And it makes me think of, I think it was season 1 of Teen Titans Go, when they fight the Tooth Fairy, and it is seriously one of the creepiest.
Oh, ew, yeah.
Episodes.
That's horrible.
So, yes.
Yeah, I can't deal with tooth stuff. And even though that was a ridiculous, silly cartoon, that skeeved me out. And the Tooth Fairy was so creepy in that.
The Ren and Stimpy stinky nerve endings.
Oh my god!
episode.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
See, all of that, it just lends itself to good horror.
And the tooth monster from Channel Zero. All horrifying. Wreckship 85, let's get a one-shot of Venomous Maximus versus Serpentor. Yes, let's do it. I'm in. All right, one more sound off. Yorktown Joe says, Joe adjacent question. Anyone pick up any Delta 17 O-rings? If so, what did you think? And choose a favorite. Yorktown Joe, you have broken my heart. Because right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel on December 28th of 2023, I went live with Okami, with Shadow Dragon, with Death Sparrow, and with Rooster from Delta 17. Go check that video out now. My review of 4 early bird, if you will, Delta 17 figures that I was able to obtain thanks to our pal Ken. Everybody check out Delta 17. These figures are absolutely incredible. They completely capture the look and feel of original Hasbro G.I. Joe O-rings. They have the gloss, they have the feel, they have the construction. They are ultra detailed. Go watch my review. But my favorite is this one right here, Rooster. The camo is incredible. He's got a lot of personality. You can see that mohawk there. And these figures are unbelievable. And right now they've got a deal where if you buy 6 or more, you get 10% off. But I cannot recommend Delta 17 enough. They are, in my opinion, the best O-rings currently available. Is a great line of toys. And there are, I think, 8 more. I think there are 12 total available right now. And I need to get the other 8. There's so much stuff coming out. I just haven't been able to get around to it yet. But my review of those 4 is available right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. Now, have you guys picked up any Delta 17 yet? Okay.
No, I had originally pre-ordered them through Big Bad, but it took so long, I just kind of canceled my pre-order because, as you said, there's other stuff. But I did see that their store on their website is now active.
Yeah, it's live now. You can order directly from them, or in a couple of months here, they're going to be at Joe Fest, and I'm sure they're going to have product there that you won't have to pay shipping for. So be sure and check out Delta 17 at Joe Fest as well. That wraps up Sound Off. It is time to move on to the final segment of the show, sponsored by our pal, our artist friend who has designed a lot of stuff for us. This is Joe and Tell, sponsored by Slickalicious. Everybody check out Slop. Everybody check out Shop Slickalicious on Instagram and gijive.com for Slickalicious's excellent artwork. All right, who wants to go first?
You.
Noel has had a stroke and fallen out. I'll go ahead and go first.
I have retrieved my.
I'm ready, and to be honest, mine isn't that exciting. I know what I said in the past. Don't give me any garbage over it, because I'm wrong all the time. All of the Ollie's sightings, I had always said, I don't need any more Crimson Guards. I don't even like Crimson Guards that much. I just don't need to troop build anything. But when you come across $5 Crimson Guards at Ollie's, well, you just can't help yourself but buy a whole bunch of Crimson Guards. I couldn't believe it, because Ollie's
my
around
mind
here,
is blown.
Ollie's around here never have anything. And so I stopped by the one that's on the way home today, and they had a mass of $5 Crimson Guards. And I
Wow.
couldn't help myself. And I also, just for the heck of it, because I was buying stuff anyway, bought myself another set of the little tiny Jada vehicles, because why not? So check your Ollies. They are still receiving shipments. They had a ton of Dusties and Zoranas as well, but I actually really don't need any more of those.
No, mine still, it only has Tomac, Zaymot.
Well, they may
That was
get
it.
more
And the
soon.
movie figures.
These must have gone out this morning because they were like flat faced on the shelf, like they had not been there long.
Yeah, I stopped into an Ollie's for the first time, because there's not one anywhere near me, but I stopped into one a couple weeks ago, and they only had Lady J's, and she's not even one of the $5 figures. I think she's still like $12.99.
Yeah, she's still
there.
$9.99.
Or, yeah.
What the heck is that? These were all $4.99, so I couldn't say no. Rich Murphy says, "Score, Dave! I picked up 4 myself. $5 classified figures. How can you not?"
And
Road Pig John asked, "Did you buy $100 worth of Crimson Guards?" No, I did exert that much self control. I didn't go completely nuts. I just went a little nuts. Kristian sound has cut out.
Dope. I need to share the photo that my brother sent me because his local Walmart was clearancing figures, and somebody got a little too excited with the gun, and they slapped $10 clearance stickers on Quick Kick,
Oh no,
Techno Viper, and because it's Walmart, when he took it up there and scanned it, and of course it came up regular price, and he
Right.
showed them, they honored it.
Oh yeah.
So he stacked up on Techno Vipers, and I'm like,
Wow.
smart.
That's
And
awesome.
that Walmart employee is probably fired.
Nah, probably not. All right, Noel, you ready?
Yes, I am. So I got a couple things that were shipped from Hasbro Pulse this week, as I showed off my H.M.S. earlier. But the other thing is something I've been waiting for 40 years.
Ooh.
Because I got myself the Takara Tomy Missing Link Optimus Prime.
I don't want to look at it.
If you're not familiar with this guy, this is a replica of the 1984 Optimus Prime G1 figure, except with a really awesome posability update.
Well, it's basically a Masters of the Universe Origins Optimus Prime.
Yeah, but I mean, you can put him in amazing poses over here. Of course, he comes. I'm not crazy about the energy axe, but he comes with it, so I put him on there. I mean, just if you recall, the original Optimus Prime did not have hands that were permanently attached. You had to take them off and store them somewhere in robot mode. This one does not have that problem. His hands actually do go inside of his arms.
Do they like fold up?
Yep, they fold up inside. So that's clever. Of course, I mean, his transformation is essentially identical to the original. That's why I was surprised at the simplicity of it, because this is not like some amazing feat of engineering. He just is using
more joints.
Yeah, more joints. But he looks great. He's so nice and shiny. Of course, he's does
got a matrix in there.
Yeah, yep. And his cab opens just the way the original did, where it just folds down. He's got the matrix in there. He does have
got the rub off too.
Yeah, it's got the rub sign. So,
oh man,
yeah. When this thing went up, I was an immediate pre-order for me. He also does come with stickers. I did not apply them, so his legs are a little bare.
Okay.
But he does have a nice tampoed Autobot symbol.
Yeah, I like that
on his arm up there. So he's not completely naked.
Now that's interesting, because somebody had posted a picture of one online where it looked like all the sticker parts were sculpted in Tampo.
So did he have the anime version or the...
Oh, is the one with the trailer different?
Yeah, the one with the trailer is styled after the animation. I went with the trailerless one because my idea was I wanted one that looked that I could put side by side with my original.
Yeah.
And then look like just updates of one another.
Right.
But now that I have him I kind of want the other one too.
Yeah, right. That was my thought. I was like, if I'm going to get it, I'm going to get the trailer one because I know I'm going to want the full deal. But I'm not getting it because I don't do Transformers.
And you talk about overused accessories. This is in one scene in one episode of the Sunbow cartoon, and every
It's
Optimus
in the
Prime
movie too, isn't it?
No, it is in.
What does he have in the movie?
Part 3.
His
just
gun?
has his blaster.
Oh, I thought he used the axe in the movie too.
Nope, it's just in part 3 of More Than Meets
Wow.
the Eye.
I
And
will agree
Megatron
then.
has his
Yeah.
his energy mace.
Right.
Yep.
All right. Road Pig John, are we crossover? Okay, then do we know any news about Triple T with Sergeant Slaughter coming up? Nothing. We've heard nothing else about that or about the Mobat. No clue. I wonder why Super7 didn't make Sergeant Slaughter yet. Any ideas? I guess what we were talking about earlier is that he would cost more money for Super7 to make because like licensing, even if they weren't necessarily using his likeness, even just his name would be licensing money. So that's my guess as to why. All right, Kristian, have you got a Joe and Tell for us?
I do. So this is Quick Kick, and I saw some folks online that were like, for a martial artist, he doesn't have super great mobility in the shoulders. And so I learned from them that if you pop the arms off, the problem is the peg that holds the arm in has some extra plastic sticking out that stops the butterfly joint. So if you clip that part off, you can actually get his arms like all the way. So it's a super simple fix. Yeah, heat him up or you boil some water. The arms pop off super easy. Clip that extra piece off. Make sure you don't actually clip the peg that
holds it in, right?
In.
Yeah.
It's pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, then just pop it back in, and and now you can have a lot better mobility in your Quick Kick.
See, I like little hacks like that don't change the appearance of the figure, but change the functionality. That's a good one. Very solid. All right. Well, everybody, how did I end up on the bottom? Oh, well, it happens sometimes. That's it. That's all the show we've got for you this week. Our music is by Andy Simford of electricminnowmusic.com. Follow us on Instagram at Audible Interlude Podcast, and be sure to check out audiblearmy.com. All kinds of bonus content for $1.99 a month. Potentially, I'm going to change it to a yearly, or add a yearly if that's a possibility for it. You get my show notes before each episode is released, early and ad-free access to all audio episodes, exclusive video access to recordings of audio episodes, early access to all G.I. Joe reviews on the Needless Things YouTube channel, and exclusive videos, which is something that's kind of ended up happening and wasn't on this original list of stuff. The opportunity to vote on content for the show, early access to Audible Interlude merch, and so much more. audiblearmy.com, $1.99 a month.
A quick trick for anybody who might want to do a subscription ahead of time, but you don't. But if a site doesn't offer it, if Patreon does let you do that, that'll be awesome. But there's a site called privacy.com where you just create a credit card and you put a spending limit on it, and it's a one-time card number. I always do it for things like if you got like a trial subscription and you want to make sure it does not get renewed.
Oh yeah.
You just, if it's a $1.99 trial and it's a $30 and you're afraid I'm going to forget to cancel it in time, you create a credit card with a $2 limit on it. And if you forget, you can do that, and you could have a credit card that it bills to, and you could set it for like a $50 limit, and then it would bill for like the next 25 months.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So yeah, privacy.com is awesome.
Okay, cool. Well, and to follow that up, Noel, why don't you tell us a little bit about The Finest?
The Finest is an international G.I. Joe costuming club, of which I am a member, and we do some awesome stuff to raise money for a great charity called Canines for Warriors. We will be at Joe Fest. So if you're dropping by for the biggest Joe Fest of all time, and yet the smallest one that will ever be from this day forward, drop by and help us raise money for dogs and vets.
And Kristian, where can we find that toy photography that you do so well?
You can find me on Instagram under the name Legion Cub.
Guys, we've had an awesome time once again talking about G.I. Joe. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you to everybody in the chat for contributing to the awesomeness of this show. We will be back next week with an audio episode, and the week after that, on May 13th, we'll be back live. So check it out. Until next time, yo, Joe.
Bananas.
No.